This is Mr. Terrific costume. Where does all his hair go?
I think that him and Felicity are really working on some new life-changing tech that will make the braiding process split-second, decision. So I think the power cell and whatnot, like right on the top of their list. So
Speaking of technology, one of Mr. Terrific's big things in the comic is working with technology and factoring his technology into his vigilantism. Are we going to see that coming up?
I definitely think you'll see that throughout the season. I think you're going to see Curtis really come into that fold of being Mr. Terrific the way that you typically see him in the comics. But it's going to take some time to get there, but it's definitely something we're going to explore throughout the season.
How does his husband feel about this daring do an adventure that's having him rush off and put himself in danger?
Definitely not happy to see your husband come home with bruises and scrapes every week. So I think he's going to have a little bit of trepidation to what Curtis is getting into if he does find that out. But it's a thing that every relationship has to worry with, even if you're going away working on tech or in power lines. It doesn't matter. Like if you're away from the person that loves you, it's going to cause stress in your relationship. And I think that Curtis being a vigilante will definitely cause stress, but I think they have a strong enough foundation where they'll be able to get through it.
Curtis exists in this really unique position where he already knew Team Arrow, but then he's also a new recruit. Does he ever get torn between those two, or how does that change or evolve moving forward?
Yeah, I think Curtis kind of likes to think he's that connective tissue to Team Arrow. He's like letting people know, so last year this kind of happened, and can really film the new recruits in on things that they might not know whenever they're, maybe at a crossroads of what they want to do moving forward. Curtis can be that kind of knowledgeable source to let them know some of the history that's going on with the team. And it is a little tough to choose sides sometimes, if it does, conflicts do arise between new Team Arrow and old Team Arrow. But I think Curtis, plays that middle pretty well.
Being a superhero is kind of a full-time job. How does he manage to balance it having the rest of his life right now?
Yeah, it's very difficult. It's an extreme balancing act, but I think Curtis is one of the most determined people you'd ever meet, and I think that he's determined to do what's right for the city, for himself, and still balance it all as much best as he can.
How does the new Team Arrow change now that John Diggle is back in the fold?
Yeah, I think you will definitely see some friction there, but I think they'll realize that there's a bigger task at hand, namely Prometheus, that they really need to focus up on and be a more cohesive unit and, kind of get to it, and not have the bickering and, kind of rogue abilities that some of our characters go through. I really think they'll really come together and focus up.
The Curtis Felicity friendship is really great. Can you tease anything about if there's any good moments in that coming up, or how Curtis might factor in now that Oliver knows about Felicity as new boyfriend, and that is something that might be a tension on the team.
Yeah, you'll definitely see their relationship grow stronger and their friendship grow stronger throughout the season. They confide in each other, when things go wrong in life or relationships have ebb and flows. They definitely fall back on each other, and that friendship is really strong and fruitful, and I think they really appreciate having each other in each other's lives.
Does Curtis have a day job?
First of all, Curtis is smart. He saves up his money. So if he didn't have a day job, he would definitely have a rainy day fund. But, I'm assuming there's got to be some type of residuals from creating the power cell and the biostimulant. I feel like he'd probably get some kickback from that. So, he's a smart guy. He figures out how to, get the finances coming in.
So it's coming up that you think are really great Curtis episodes or have good Curtis moments in them?
Yeah, the writers do such a good job with every episode. One of the ones I really wanted people to see was episode 3, because that suit up line was just so much fun to do, and they really let me play with it. But there's a couple episodes where some really funny Curtis moments coming up, but they definitely sprinkle it throughout the season. So I would say it's more of a seasonal thing. Watch the whole season, watch Curtis be silly and do his thing.
Well, in the comics, he's not always a likable guy. He's kind of like a bit of a jerk.
Atheist.
Yeah. And head of Terrific Corp and everything. Would you like to get there with him, where he kind of takes on this is kind of the arrogance and the head of the company?
Yeah, I mean, it would definitely be an interesting character trajectory to see him come from this kind of silly, nerdy guy to this more serious and just kind of jerky type of person. But it's definitely, life throws a lot of things at us, and, we're always constantly changing and evolving, and I could definitely see Curtis getting to that point where he is a little more serious. When I originally auditioned for it, they had me read it a couple different ways, and one was like the kind of silly way, and then they had me kind of dig in and come up with a more like confident, serious way to do it too. So I definitely think it's a place we can go, but I'm just excited to see what his journey is, and I think if he does get there, it has to be earned though. It just can't be all of a sudden, hey, no, I'm serious. He has to really go through some stuff to kind of sharpen those edges and whatnot. So if the writers see fit to take him that way, I'm ready to go there.
Speaking of his silliness, in the last week's episode, he literally got a knife to his back.
Stabbed in the back. Yeah.
Right, I gasped out loud when I saw that. But is that going to impact the way he sees this whole vigilante thing moving forward?
It definitely will have repercussions on, and not just this instant, but just realizing how tough it is out in the field will have repercussions on him, and really have him, having thoughts about his future and whatnot. But like I said, he does have a determination where he sticks with a task, he gets through it, and I think that'll really show and prove. But he'll definitely have some low points in being a vigilante.
Work harder together.
I mean, it is fun to see them kind of F up things and like go rogue, but I think, as we get more serious with dealing with Prometheus, as he rears his head more, they have to be a better team. They have to, or else people will die and people get hurt and they won't be able to be successful in their mission. So I definitely think that's a place that, as a team, as a unit, you have to get there or you have to change something. And I think that's true on the show.
They played it for laughs when you had Madison slapping you around a couple of episodes ago.
Yeah.
But do you think that small little setbacks like that with manageable consequences are actually kind of a big part of building up Curtis in particular? Absolutely.
I definitely think so. It's not easy kind of being the guy on the team that feels like you have the longest way to go, so that it's something he's going to struggle with. But I keep coming back to his determination, his spirit that always drives him in life and in everything he does. And I know that's something that he'll be able to overcome, and I think when he finally gets into his true Mr. Terrific form and really brings all his skills to the forefront, you'll see him in a different light.
I know you already sort of touched on the husband's, what happens when he finds out. The other thing I was kind of thinking about is all heroes typically have to sacrifice something. It's typically a close personal sacrifice that happens. Is that anything that's going through his head right now? That everybody has someone else that's died, and a lot of times due to their own actions or inactions. Is that something that he's thought about?
I don't think that's something Curtis is dealing with right now, but obviously the safety of his partner is important. And if he ever felt like he was jeopardizing that, it would definitely be something that he would think long and hard about and try to make the best decision moving forward. Yeah, but I don't think, I think he's kind of more so want to protect him and protect himself, and that's why he's kind of doing this, so he's not a victim anymore, so that he can stand on his own 2 feet and really make a difference outside of